episode 21. Does that mean that this, whatever this is, show, podcast, ramblings of a madman, is now has enough episodes to be able to drink, which I've been doing, it sounds like. That's how I sound when I'm just lit. No, it's not. Hi, I guess. This is awkward. My name's DK. If this is your first episode, what the heck? Go back. What are you doing? Hi. It's 5:45 on a Monday Eve. Technically Eve? I don't know. Or is it Adam? Eva. I don't know. Hi. These are all weird things for me to say. I have had a long day at work. My brain's a little fried, but I'm going to talk to you because I want to do that. Today, now, here, let's go. So last night I watched the Oh, it's going to be like this, is it? Saturday Night Live with Donald Glover as the host and also the musical guest. And he was good. He was very funny. Some of the sketches were pretty okay. I enjoyed them. I wasn't sure about the music portion. There was one track, though, that he did where I wasn't sure about the song at first. I was like, I don't know if I get it. And then there was this, honestly, amazing, laser display light show, and the camera was doing this movement, and he was doing this movement, and I was like, I don't care what it is. I'm sold now. I don't know what that was, but I've never seen, a laser display like that before. It was really cool. And, the song was fine. I don't know. I didn't really get it, but it was fine. I liked it. He's good. He's clearly good. He was good. I'm totally on board with him being Lando. He's Lando for me. I buy it. 100% buy it. It helps that I don't know him from anything else. I've heard some people go, oh, but it's Childish Gambino and it's weird that he's Lando. But I don't know anything about that. So for me, it's perfect that he's Lando. Because in Star Wars, you don't want a big name in there. Like Forrest Whitaker in Rogue One. I think I might have talked about this already, but took me out of the movie because I'm like, well, there's Forrest Whitaker, with his eye. Did you come here to kill me? I don't know. Kenan Thompson was him. What's his name? Rex? No. Gullet. What's this character's name? Saw Gerrera, I believe. That's a cool name, by the way, and a cool character. He has a robot leg and everything, and a little face mask. That was fun. But I'm totally on board with Donald Glover. I keep wanting to say Crispin Glover, which would be, imagine Crispin Glover as Lando. That's just a big problem. No, he's good. But here's my problem. I don't want to see the Han Solo movie. I don't want it. I don't want to see Han. Oh, guys, he's going to get the Millennium Falcon. Look, he starts the movie and he doesn't have... What? He doesn't have it? Oh, I bet we're going to see how he gets it. I don't want to see him get it. Oh, guys, we're probably going to see... Remember in A New Hope when he goes, oh, it's the ship that made the Kessel Run. Shut up. I don't want to see the Kessel Run. I don't want to see it. I may have already done this exact rant already, and I don't care. I'm doing it again. I don't want to see the Kessel Run. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see him meet Chewbacca. They've always been friends, okay? Stop. I don't like it. I don't want Chewbacca to be a father figure to Han. They're just best friends. They're bros. That's all there is to it. He's a great pilot. He's kind of cocky. And then in the end... he tries to be better and whatever. He's always a scoundrel. Plus the guy, there are actors that look more like Harrison Ford that they could have gone with. Why did they go with that guy? Now, this was also my reaction to Rogue One. Then Rogue One came out and I legitimately loved it. So I may be singing a different tune in a couple weeks. But as of right now, Han Solo is something that if I could vote, I would vote no. Don't want to see it. I'd rather see. There's plenty of room for Obi-Wan to do something. I'd like to see a Darth Vader movie. He could be interesting, but I don't want it to be like 90 minutes of Darth Vader in a hallway killing rebels. I would want it to be an interesting. I would want it to be a more interesting story. I'm not just saying like, I want to see more action and like this lightsaber fights and the Force and stuff. There would need to be some of that in there, sure. But Darth Vader can be interesting because of his duality or his struggle with the dark side and like, oh, there's still good in him and he's got to do all these evil things and he is evil, but also a little part of him's good and like, oh, could it come out and what was he up to? I'd like to see him maybe hunting down a leftover Jedi master that's eluded Order 66. That'd be fun. I'd like to see that. It's in some of the comic books, and those have been great stories. I've read those. They're fantastic. If you haven't read the Darth Vader comic, man, you really should. That's a good one. The current one. It's one of the best things to come out of the new, like, oh, we reset the expanding universe. Getting to see some of that Vader stuff. The Vader line, the actual Star Wars line, those are both excellent. I tried to read the Leia one, and I tried to read, there's one other one. Oh, what was it? I didn't like it as much. Although I haven't kept up with them. Maybe those got better. But the initial episode, or issue or two, I wasn't into. But when they go cheap, just like I got Paper Girls on digital as a group, I will do that with these as well. But the Star Wars one, the main one, and the Darth Vader were fantastic so far. I don't believe those are done yet. Very good though. Yeah, I don't know. I'm compelled to see Star Wars Solo Han Red Cup extravaganza, but I don't know. I'm not. Maybe it'll be fine. My expectations are super low, and maybe that means I'll go, it was fine, and whatever. We'll move on with our lives. If there's even just a few things in there that I'm cool with, then that's good. I'm to that point with Star Wars. There's so much Star Wars out there at this point. As long as we get some cool moments, I guess that's good. I mean, that's not my hope. I mean, I hope that the movie's excellent and I love every minute of it. But that expectation doesn't seem to be realistic. Why do I care about so much about movies? I don't know. I always talk about them because I don't know. Is it just because there's something to talk about, or because they're a good escape? But for me, movies is I like every part of the experience of getting excited, all the way from when a movie is announced. If it's a movie I care about, for example, when they announced Episode 7, mega hype for me. I couldn't believe it. I was pretty pleased with J.J. Abrams being announced. I knew he could do a good job. Whether or not he would, I wasn't sure. Plus, not knowing where the story was going to go or whatever. But the excitement of hearing, oh, Mark Hamill's going to be in it, and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford. The excitement of all that, watching the trailer. I'm going to admit that I cried when I watched the trailer the first time, and the second time, and all the times. It was a magical experience. And then getting my ticket and going to see it, going to the actual theater, all the excitement of the night before. We're going to see it tomorrow. It's going to be great. And then going there, seeing the movie was really exciting. It was a lovely time. I enjoyed every minute of it. And then the moment I step out of the theater, I'm feeling the pleasure of, oh, I've just experienced that. It was so much fun. Where's it going to go? There's all this promise of adventure and what's going to happen. And, oh, the lightsaber, getting in the car and driving home. Every moment after that, talking about the movie, that was also fun. Can you believe this happened? Can you believe X, Y, Z? What do you think is going to happen? And then for another year, till Rogue One, we got to talk about what's Kylo Ren doing? What's his deal? Whatever. What do you think happened to Finn and Rey? Blah, blah, blah. All the fun, kicking the old can around of what do you think is going to happen next. It's all one big experience, I guess. And it's a story, for me, that's been going since I was a child. And it's almost like, no matter what they do, I'll have to watch it. It's almost like, I don't know, a part of my life. It's weird. And if I hadn't seen Star Wars till I was an adult, I don't think I would. I mean, I know I wouldn't care about it. I know I wouldn't have the same connection. Because the movies now, it seems like, aren't for me. They're for the younger generation, and that's fine. But I'm still 100% invested in Star Wars. It's crazy. And the other crazy thing is, before Episode 7 came out, I thought I was done. I remember very vividly growing to hate the prequels with a passion. There were things to find in them that I like, but there was a lot that I kind of said, I'm done. Star Wars has changed. I'm no longer compatible with this. I love the originals dearly, uh, but that's it. That's where it's going to stop. They threw out all my old books, so I don't care. And the books were a big thing for me too. I think I've talked about that before, though, how important the expanded universe was, since there was nothing else. So all I had was these films and these books and the games. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird, and I do think it's weird. I admit that I don't know if it's healthy, but Star Wars for me is a pretty big deal. And it's the quoting it and the reliving it and the getting the inside jokes and I don't know. It's always going to be there. It's a constant, like baseball, Ray. Uh, what's your thing? For some people, it's Star Trek. For some people, it's well, partially for me, Indiana Jones or Ghostbusters. Or what's your franchise? What's the frequency, Kenneth? What's your thing? Some people love Lord of the Rings. I'm one of them. Which that one's an oddity for me. I don't really do fantasy, really. I mean, there are some exceptions. I don't really do fantasy, though. I was thinking about this the other day. Did you do Greek mythology in school? I did. I really did, and I really got interested in it. So much so that I would go to the library and read the books about Greek mythology. For whatever reason, Greek mythology was always the one that interested me the most. I also liked Egyptian and Norse, but Greek was always the one for me. So, like for when God of War came out, I was like, oh, it was almost like cameos. Like, oh, there's Athena and Zeus and there's Hercules. Like all these cool characters who I already knew. That was cool. But that I would consider that to be a fantasy. And I was thinking about there's an old, I don't know if it might be a TV adaptation of the Odyssey, and it's a VHS tape that I wore out. I watched it so many times. I don't even know what year this movie came out. It must have been 90s or early aughts. But it's the Odyssey, and it's a fairly, or at least I remember it being fairly mature, not like Hercules. Oh, I wouldn't say that Hercules is immature, but it's a little more TV friendly. I remember this movie being a little bit creepy and a little bit kind of sexy, like when he goes to the island of the, is it the island of the, it's Circe, is that right? And he goes into her bedroom, if you know what I'm saying. And while he's in there, time is different for him. It's just a few minutes, but it's years for his man. His poor guy is just waiting. Come on, they're in there for years. No one went to the door and knocked. Hey, Odysseus, everything good in there? If you couldn't get in there after 6 months or so, I mean, after a month, after a week, wouldn't you be trying to get in? Why couldn't they get in there? Was it magically sealed? I don't know. But after a couple months, you must think, oh, he's dead. We should probably try to go home. His men were so loyal. Plus, weren't they being killed? I think there were things on the island that I think many of them died just getting there. They want to go home and see their families. Oh, but yeah. Those stories are amazing to me. I love those. The Cyclops and the, Odysseus fighting against the gods and overcoming his many-year odyssey and finally getting home and seeing his wife and whatever. I always love that story. I once listened to the audiobook of the Odyssey read by Ian McKellen. It was amazing. Just the language itself and him reading it. I almost wanted to listen to it again, but it's such an undertaking. You might say it's an Odyssean undertaking. Is that a phrase? Odyssean? Like meaning of the Odyssey? Like huge? I could be wrong. But either way, I'm saying it. Love the Odyssey. Oh, I don't know what point I was trying to make, but that movie was incredible. It was one of those oddball movies that I watched. Like Dune. For some reason, Dune, not the original one, but like the TV one. I watched it so many times. I love Dune. But yeah, this Odyssey movie, I need to look it up and see if I can find it. I wonder if it holds up. I wonder if it's any good at all. And I wonder if it was. I don't feel like it was a theatrical. I feel like it was a TV movie, but I don't know anymore. It was quite good though, and I learned all those stories, and those are fun. I like those a lot. I never did Egyptian or Norse as much. I did some reading on it, and I kind of know the basics, but it's funny how Marvel has sort of taken over Norse, with Thor. For some people, all they know about it is the Marvel Thor. And some of it is kind of accurate, but it's kind of sanitized and not nearly as sexy or murderous or fun as the actual thing. Have you seen the show or read the book American Gods? That's a really cool take on mythology, like a modern day mythology, but it incorporates actual mythology. It's very good if you haven't. It's very fun, but also very brutal and sexy, just like good mythology should be. That's how I want my myths to be: brutal and sexy. I don't know. That's just me. So here's the thing. I was at work the other day, and a person I was dealing with didn't like what I was saying to them, and crumbled up his receipt and threw it in my face and said, "Why are you trying to be such an asshole?" And ran out, walked out of the store. He had 2 kids with him. What a cool guy. What a cool dad. I wish my dad was that cool. He yelled at people who were just trying to help you. I was trying to explain. He was getting a code with something that he bought, and the code was on a separate piece of paper, and not on the receipt. And he's like, "I know it's on the receipt." I'm like, "Well, not in this situation. For this one, it's only on this other card." And he's like, "Man, I know. I used to work here. It's on the receipt." And I'm like, I don't want you to be confused or throw away your other piece of paper because the code is not there. It's on the code is not on the receipt. It's on this other piece of paper. And then he was like, just started cussing at me and crumbled it up and threw it right in my face. In what universe, in what reality is that something that seems okay to do? I would maybe do it to a friend as a joke. Like, "Yeah, why are you being such an asshole?" and throw it in their face. But would you do that to a stranger? I can't wrap my head around that. I don't I don't understand. And it legitimately upset me. I don't know. I don't feel like he was harassing me or whatever, but it wasn't even that I didn't feel offended or he didn't hurt my feelings, just that he was being such a bad example for those kids. It's okay to do that, sure. Dad does it. Oh my God. And just his immaturity, I didn't understand. Wow. It was rough. I don't know how to. I've gotten pretty good at dealing with these kind of people over the years because I've worked this kind of job for a long time. And I just simply said, "Well, I just didn't want you to, have a problem and not be able to get your thing you bought. I'm sorry." And I think I said, like, "I'm sorry we had a misunderstanding," as he left. And there were other people in there, and they're like, "What is wrong with this guy?" Oh, good times are had by all. So I bought a Nintendo Switch. I bought, the only game I bought was Pinball Arc. No, not Pinball. I keep calling it that. It's Pinball Stern Pinball Collectathon #1. What is it called? Stern Pinball Arcade or something along those lines. It has the new Ghostbusters, which is the main attraction. But it has some other good tables, some of which are in Pinball Arcade, and they're like the same table. It's made by the same studio. For whatever reason, licensing, I guess it's got a different name, but that's a really fun one. And the Switch has got this mode where if you take the Joy-Con off, it'll turn the picture sideways, and it'll give you more of a realistic pinball resolution and like a point of view on the table. So that's really cool. It's like your own tiny table, and you can just play with the Joy-Con stuck together like a controller. I love that. Honestly, that is so cool. It fills me with joy. That's the way to play it. I love that. That's the coolest feature I've seen on the Switch so far. I know there's some other cool ones, but that, come on. That is so cool. Such a clever thing. Part of me is, because I took the thing home and I set it all up, and I'm like, great, I have a Switch now. Put that down. It's time to play God of War. Like, I currently on the Switch, I didn't need another. I have that pinball game on the computer and the PlayStation. I won that game for free in a contest for the PlayStation. But I don't know what it was, but I was like, I gotta have it on the Switch. I don't know what it is. I like having a handheld. I talked about that before, but part of me is like, did I need this thing? So hopefully there'll be some experiences that I can have on there that I can't have anywhere else. And for certain situations, the Switch is awesome. I like a handheld, as I say. I can have some cool experiences on there. I'll probably play through Doom again for fun. I'll always go back to Skyrim. But I've got both of those on PlayStation already, so I don't know. I guess time will tell how much I actually use the Switch. I'm sure there'll be some exclusives that I'm really into that I'll want to play, but as of right now, there's not a whole lot. I'm happy that Wolfenstein will be there. I'm a fan of that game, big time. I'm sure there'll be some things, and I'm also thinking of family stuff. I'm sure people want to play Mario Kart. It's not my kind of game, really, but I'll play if people want to play it. It's fun that one set of Joy-Con is enough for two people to play with. I like that. I think that. But I'll probably never play Zelda. If somebody in my house wants to play Zelda, I'll watch. That's great. But it's just not the thing I bought it for. And actually, I had the Switch on layaway since last November. I had the thing on layaway, and I was just sort of paying a little bit here and there every paycheck or whatever. And that was partially because it's expensive, and I'm not just gonna. I can't really afford to just buy one straight out. But also, I wasn't sure if I needed it. I just wanted it. So I guess it was a little bit of a indulgent purchase. But I feel like I'll get my money's worth one way or the other, even if I just play pinball on it. So I've been putting a little bit of time into that, but not a whole lot because God of War is my current love affair. Oh, it's so good, you guys. I haven't finished it yet, but when I do, I might have a spoilery talk about it, or maybe I won't, but I can't recommend it enough. If you've got a PS4, or if you were thinking about a PS4 and you need an action RPG to change your mind, to push you over the edge, honestly, this game, I've it's amazing. I can't tell you enough. If you're into action RPGs, games with a good story, if you like the old God of Wars, you have to. It's insanely good. The story is gonna be tough to match by anything. It's excellent. The dynamic of Kratos and Atreus, his son. Oh man, it's incredible. I did a thing the other night in the game that gave me the chills. Just so good, and just so much depth to it. I could talk about it all day, but I won't. Love that game. Try it. Man, I'm like trying to stop thinking about it, but I can't. It's heckin' good. Anyway, I think I probably blathered on long enough about stuff. Luckily, I got into my car and there weren't any ghosts this time. Looks like Bill Wilkins got that authentic Italian food he was trying to get. Maybe he's still there, haunting some buffet or something or other, some kitchen. Hope he gets back to his comfy armchair soon enough. And yeah, I will talk to you in the next one. It's been lovely, as always. Thank you for all there was so much activity on the last one, the comments and stuff. I really appreciate you guys talking about Rush and pointing out when certain sound clips are played or whatever. Oh, and I do want to say, I think I said this before, but I'm working on a new album, and I have about 3 tracks finished at this point. I don't have any idea, like, for an ETA on a release date, but I do want to announce what it is. For the first time, I'm doing a concept album, and the concept is very simple. The concept of the album is Army of Darkness. So you can imagine how excited I am about that. There's a lot of love going into this, but I'm kind of using my barbecue. I'm trying to make it my own, right? Anybody could make a Army of Darkness soundtrack, of their own, but mine will be barbecue style, 8-bit drums with other things peppered in, lots of synth. It'll sound creepy. It'll be fun. I've been dropping in these little sound clips from the movies here and there. There's going to be a lot of that going on. I'm very excited about it. I don't know if I have anything to share just yet, but just be aware that I have started really earnestly working on that, and that is for sure what the project is, and I'm very excited about it. So hopefully I'll have that by the fall. Yeah. So again, thanks for listening. May the farce be with you, and I'll catch you on the flip flop. I love you deeply. Bye.